Hello everyone, morning. Joseph Lackland here. It's Wednesday, April 29th, 2026. This is the pre-market morning report. I turned on my screen this morning and I saw that crude oil was higher again, near about 104. So I guess the situation in the Persian Gulf is not really getting better. I've noticed that lately the news headlines seem rather desensitized from what's happening. So now we've gone from a full-blown spotlight type of focused panic on every communication that comes out of the White House and subsequent stories about the war to nothing really makes a difference, and the activity is somehow being normalized. So there continues to be massive interruptions in the flow of crude oil and supplies due to the Strait of Hormuz functionally being closed. A few ships are getting through, but a majority of the traffic is not getting through, and the market seems to be in a complete state of denial that anything is wrong. So if we look at the crude oil price is $103. So it went up about $4 or $5 yesterday, and it's off of the low of the session about $4 or $5 today. So we basically done a few dollars up, a few dollars up. We've done $3 or $4 up, $3 or $4, $5 up. They keep this up for the next couple of days, and we're going to be at $120. And then it's going to be very difficult for anybody to tell anybody anything about how things are getting better. This gasoline is on a major technical breakout. I covered this over the last couple of sessions. This thing continues to rise. This is going to be a big problem for everybody. And what I mean by that is that gasoline is going to be very expensive going forward. You will see prices north of $10 a gallon in certain areas if this keeps up. The all-time high in the gasoline is around the 5 handle, so another 15,000 ticks to go until we get to the high. That was the Ukraine war high after Russia invaded Ukraine. A few months after, the gasoline was trading around the 5 handle. So this is a very big deal, and the market is not paying attention to this whatsoever. The market seems to not care that the crude oil continues to rise steadily, 3, 4, 5% on each session now for the last couple of sessions. The ES is at an all-time high, 71.71. We are going to hear from the Federal Reserve today about interest rates, and I really don't see the market caring very much about interest rates with the war and crude oil above $100. It really doesn't matter what they're going to do with the interest rates, and usually they just give us a playbook as to how much money they're going to print over the next couple of months. And that was all the market cared about for years and years and years, was how much new money is going to be created so that we can keep the notion of unlimited growth going. And the stock market has continued to go up for years, ever since they started the quantitative easing in 2008. That they've basically never stopped. The printing has continued for over a decade now. If we go to U.S. debt clock real quick, I used to cover this all the time in older videos, but we could see here that this number right here, this is the big number. U.S. national debt, $39 trillion. When I was doing this around 2020 and 2021, this number was 20 to 22 trillion. And we've doubled that in the last 6 years. So nothing is really getting better. The market continues to go up. Real estate continues to go up, but it's all a direct function of inflation. You create more money. There's more money floating around to chase less goods and services. You're going to get inflation. So this is a very, very big issue here. You can print all the money that you want, but you cannot print more gasoline. So we're eventually going to run into a situation where the crude is so expensive that it's just not affordable for the world to use at its current rate. So the demand is going to have to come down, and productivity is going to come down, and everything's going to have to come in a little bit. So the printing press is not going to solve the energy crisis. So when we do hear from Powell today on interest rates, it may not really matter much at all for what the market is interpreting and what the market is going to do here over the next couple of days, weeks. The main point is that the Strait of Hormuz remains closed and we are just not getting enough crude oil. The news articles that did seem to have a little bit of influence over what's going to happen here today are U.S. gas prices hit highest level in 4 years, analyst says. So the national average for a gallon of gas was $4.17, the highest level since 2022. This is Ukraine, and surpassed the $4.16 price earlier this month. Will continue to head higher. The American Automobile Association also said the price of it for a gallon of regular gas reached just above $4.17, showing a 6-cent increase from Monday. These are incremental increases. I'm talking about much more dramatic increases, not a few cents here and there. I'm talking dollars. This thing's going to move dollars. Diesel was significantly higher on Tuesday, with AAA showing the price for a gallon at $5.46, an increase of 2 cents over Monday's average. Prices may have been impacted by the United Arab Emirates announcement on Tuesday that the oil-rich country was quitting the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. Okay, well, that's wonderful. They're quitting, dealing a blow to the oil producers group. The exit of the UAE weakens OPEC's control over global oil supplies and will widen the rift between the UAE and neighboring Saudi Arabia. Well, they're maybe withdrawing because they got hit so hard from the Iranian counterattack that they can't really operate their business. So this is really a very tangled web of events that are unfolding because of this crisis. You have all kinds of things just going haywire, not working as they usually would, and they may never go back to normal. Even if we stop the war right now and start repairing these oil facilities that were damaged and or almost completely destroyed, the production capacity is not going to go back to what it was right away. It's going to take several months and or years. I've watched several YouTube videos now of other oil and gas analysts that are outlining the severity of the crisis, and they provided metrics and analysis and timeline forecasts of when production would go back to normal, how much is being pulled out of the market, how much supply is not available in the market. This is very, very serious. So the next one has to do with Brent, and Brent is trading a little bit more than WTI. There's a premium to Brent, and it says Brent nears Iran war highs after Trump orders extended blockade, threatens no more Mr. Nice Guy. Apparently, all the peace talk, dialogue, and rhetoric that we heard over the last few days, last week, that put the crude oil down and put the market up near the all-time high, it looks like all of that is being walked back right now. This is the typical situation where things are reportedly looking better and we're going to get, a peace deal hammered out soon, to, okay, it's back to more of the same, and Trump makes more threats and crude oil starts going up again, and that's that. Only this time the stocks aren't really going down. We could see that the stock market just will not let go of the all-time high. I mean, it won't do it. So the stock market continues to stay locked on the all-time high while this situation gets worse, while the crude oil is rallying now. So I'm not sure what they're going to do with this one. This is going to be really difficult for them to keep to keep pushing as far as the narrative goes that things are going to get better and that gasoline and crude prices are going to return to normal. So Brent is almost on the Brent's very near the Iran war high. It's probably going to cross it today. Crude oil is obviously, going up $3-4 a day. So we're going to see $110, $115, $120 oil in the next couple of days if they keep this up. And then you get, here's a great picture right here, right? We should also include the price of gasoline here at the local station. So while Trump makes all these threats, we're going to pay more for everything, including gasoline, to start. Goldman says the state of the U.S. consumer outlook gets more grim. They have a lot of metrics to support that. You can read this article if you want. These are accurate metrics. Goldman Sachs is pretty good at quantitative analysis, but we already knew that. We knew that the consumer was going to suffer. We didn't really need all of these fancy charts. All we need is this chart right here. So this chart right here is how much the gasoline costs. And the higher this goes, the more expensive it's going to be for us to do absolutely anything. So I'm off to a little bit of a late start this morning. I'm going to get this video out. We have gold going down. We have indexes starting to go down. There is some weakness here. We will see how severe this weakness gets. If the crude holds at 105, 106, and it just continues to appreciate and it doesn't go down, these things are probably going to get hit really hard because they've been basically ignoring the situation completely up until this point. In the overnight, we could see that, the market is drifting a little bit lower overnight, nothing major. We could see that the gold is on a pretty steady downdraft here. It did get hit really hard yesterday, so this is a little bit of a follow through today. And we can see that the crude oil overnight obviously started rallying a couple hours after Asia and put another $4 or $5 on the price, and now it's on the all-time high, or not the all-time high. It's on the almost the Iran war high. We got another $5-10 to go, and volatility in here. It's not going to take very much at all for this thing to really just gain steam and get up there now. It appears that the strait is not going to be opened anytime soon. So that's a lot to handle. We do have FOMC, so I do expect that the market is going to continue to be active up until the FOMC announcement and thereafter, but I don't think the market really cares more about the FOMC than it does about the price of crude oil and gasoline. So that will do it for now. Hopefully I will get some good script demonstration videos out later. I will talk to you guys soon. Take care. Good luck out there.